Thank you so much. So good afternoon, everyone, and many thanks for the kind invitation and the time and opportunity to present today. My name is Maryam Malekigorji. I'm a senior lecturer in the School of Pharmacy at Queen's University, Belfast, and also acting as program director for the BSc courses we have in the school. So today with my colleague, Dr. Clerkin, lecturer in the School of Pharmacy, she is also acting as the program director with me. We will present together the student staff partnership project that we actually embedded in our BSc courses in China. So before I start, just wanted to highlight what Zoe and Jennifer mentioned already. So as we know, education is at the heart of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and higher education is the key, has the key role in changing the values and attitudes toward education for sustainable development and education for global citizenships. So as educator, we try to continuously change and enhance the quality of our education. And within that regard, in terms of the quality assurance assessment, we do consider student feedback both formally through student, for example, student voice committees, and also the formal survey that we have, such as the teaching evaluation and the module evaluations, as well as the informal communication and feedback we receive from the student throughout our courses. Having said that, as I quoted here from Don, there's a subtle but extremely important difference between an institution that listens to the student and responds accordingly, and an institution that gives the student the opportunity to explore and bring about changes. So as educator, we must change our perspective, and instead of perceiving a student as consumer, we need to support the view of a student being active collaborator and co-producer. So that can create competent and skilled graduates who make informed choices to become autonomous lifelong learners. So this study is undertaken in China Queen's College, or CQC. So CQC is Queen's main transnational project and has around 450 students studying 2 BSc degrees in pharmaceutical sciences and biotechnology, and a foundation year in the north of China, Shenyang. So while CQC was a very successful transnational project embedding the Queen's core value and experience into a student body in China, it hasn't been without its very unique challenges. Our students are all Chinese studying English degrees in an environment where the English is not the first spoken language. And also in the past, they had the majority of their teaching as large group-based teaching with few one-to-one or tutorial-based session. So that has led the development of a very strong hierarchical relationship between the students and teacher, as we commonly known as teacher-based learning strategy. So we wanted to change that, and we knew that our students in the past created a dependency on their teacher, which can limit their knowledge and the ability of fostering lifelong learning skills, such as the development of creativity and original thinking, which are required and critical in professional practices. So in this project that we started since 2019 with student union collaboration, we wanted to offer the opportunity to students to become self-directed learners, to allow them to self-regulate, to take responsibility of their own learning and become more accountable. So how we implemented the project in our courses. So we normally recruit our students at the beginning of the term. All students enrolled in the modules have the opportunity to undertake the activities in the project, but their participation is not compulsory. So here student reps have a very critical role because they are the one contacting constantly students and staff, communicating with them, collect and analyze feedback, and reflect ideas and suggestions for course enhancement. So the reps receive training at the beginning of the term for a week, and the project is normally introduced to the whole class and students during the first introduction session that we have with all students. So our aim is to embed active learning strategies through formative assessment by considering a student-centered learning approach. And therefore, we request the students' feedback, perception, and suggestion by surveys during the project. So the result of the surveys are normally analyzed by the reps. They are circulating the surveys and gathering the information, and then they discuss the outcomes in the focus groups with us, with the staff. So as you can see, there are two photos here taken from one of the focus groups we had in 2019. Unfortunately, we had to move our focus group meeting online after the COVID pandemic. So we also created online discussion forum on our VLE canvas. So everyone has the opportunity to contribute as collaborator, and this is the area we post the action points after each focus group. So our discussions and action points in the project is divided into 3 groups: student voice, education, and academic enhancement. And we believe that our students so far have had substantial contribution in decision making and enhancing the quality of our courses. So with the student collaboration, we managed to improve the feedback mechanism we have across different modules in CQC. We managed to improve the way we help the student to prepare themselves for the summative assessment by providing a very robust formative assessment during the term. And also we linked the subject very clearly to the module and program learning outcomes requested by the student, and informed them how different subjects across the same level or at different level are integrated horizontally and vertically. And also these two that are highlighted in red are the changes requested by a student. And the reason that I highlighted them because these were major changes, and we require to submit those changes first to the Queen's Courses and Regulation groups. They are now approved by them, CRG, and one of them was actually moving some of the formative assessment to the summative assessment to improve student engagement and understanding throughout the course. And also the other one was delivering the module in the first semester instead of the second semester. So that was one of the level 1 module, organic chemistry. And because our students think that they have good background of organic chemistry through their high school, there may not be a necessary requirement to develop some skills ahead of taking this module in the second semester. So that was the second major change that we embedded in one of the modules in CQC. So now I'm going to actually hand it over to my colleague Kiva. Thanks, Kiva.
Thank you very much. So I'm just going to go into a little bit more of the detail of what we have implemented into our modules at CQC. So the example that we're going to have a look at is a low risk, what we deemed as a low risk chemistry module in level 1, known as CHC 1004. And just to make note here, I took over this module in this academic year, and so we've seen some changes that we'll discuss now. One of the changes that was fed through our Chinese cohort was that they wanted an opportunity to have a look at some of the terminology before they went into a lecture to familiarise themselves with that. And so we implemented definition tests before each lecture. As you can see highlighted here, we scored it out of 100% before they could move on to the next section of the lecture. But on the second year, if you can go on, Maryam, what we noticed was that students did not like that approach, and to be better in line with UDL, we removed that. So now students only have to actually submit an attempt at those tests. We also included, go on please Maryam, a recap quiz, and this was again based on the feedback that we were receiving from students. They were asking for more practice. They wanted more attempts to prepare for the class test. So this recap quiz really is a standard for which we would set the class test at, but also for us to use as a diagnostic tool to design our revision sessions and to identify areas that the students may be struggling in. Thank you, Maryam. So if we have a look at some of the impact of this partnership on this module, the first thing to mention, as Maryam has already alluded to, is that due to the pandemic in 2019-20, our exams in this year were online, and so the data and the results that were presented here may not be a true reflection of the students' performance or their satisfaction with the module. But what we can see is that in the subsequent years, our pass rate is around 70% as a first attempt, and that has raised in this year. And we could argue that that could be just to a stronger cohort of students. So we really can't confirm whether that is an accurate representation either. But what we can show is some of the positive, thank you Maryam, feedback comments that we were receiving upon implementation of this partnership, and they are really, really encouraging for us to implement this partnership into other modules. So some of the comments were learning a subject in a different way, discussion with my peers, which I think we've all talked about today, which is really important to build a community with peers, understanding the learning outcomes. The module is set clearly, student interactions are great, the time arrangement for different activities is very precise. So these, as I said, are very encouraging to continue the partnership into other modules. It is worth noting here that the students in the 2019-20 cohort, we have monitored their performance in more advanced chemistry modules in level 2 and level 3. But again, because of the impact of the pandemic, those results are not, we can't confirm the data that we've collected from that, but we're hoping with continued monitoring of this partnership that we will see a positive outcome of this partnership. Thank you, Maryam. So what we have done in this academic year is expanded the partnership into some level 2 and level 3 modules. And again, these modules are still running, so we unfortunately don't have data to present to you here today, but what we can say is that the preliminary results are showing that there is a slight improvement compared to previous years in terms of that student satisfaction rate, and again that's very optimistic for us to implement this across other modules. We do also have a grant application under review to support this partnership at CQC, and hopefully,
just 2 minutes, Kiva, sorry, just on top.
Thank you. Hopefully if that grant is successful, we can help support students from a technological perspective. So that would be, for example, to help students with connectivity issues that they may be facing, but also to support staff in the development of digital tools. Thank you, Maryam. So these are some of the achievements to date, but in summary, what we would just like to say is that the skills that students are developing through this partnership, such as the self-sufficiency, critical thinking, self-learning and self-dependency, are vital for the global workforce and to empower those students to drive real change. And we're hoping that this partnership will help to foster some of those key skills that they require. And then finally, Maryam, we'll just leave you with some quotes. And this is just to show how this partnership has been around for the last 15 years. And what people are really seeing is that a partnership between students and staff should really be the norm. It shouldn't be the exception. We should be continuously listening to our students on how to improve our modules and to effect that change. And we continue to need university support to ensure the success of this partnership, but also the success of our students in their careers, whatever direction that they may see themselves going down. Thank you very much.